Good morning students. Welcome to online teaching session of Academic World School Bemetra. Dear students, today we are going to start our new lesson, that is your metals and the non-metals. Okay. Before going to start, I would like to give you some of the introductions about the metals and the non-metals. Okay. So you please listen to me and keep the book and copy with you along with the pen and pencil to take a note of that. Before going to define the metal or maybe the non-metal, I would like to explain you what is the matter and its classification. Although it is not essential, but it is also essential to know about it. Okay. So let me start from the classification of the matter. Okay. So you also write with me, along with me, matter. I think that you know the definition of the matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space, according to physics also. Okay, matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. So what is the classification of the matter? So I will give the name of my, this portion is the classification of the matter. Classification of matter, right? So matter can be broadly classified into two categories. First one is the physical and second one is the chemical. Okay, physical classification and the chemical classification. Physical classification of the matter is again divided into according to the state of the matter. That is your solid, liquid and the gas. Let me write down solid, then is your liquid, and the next one is the gas. Okay, but if you come to the chemical classification of the matter, this is again divided into broadly two. First one is the pure and second one is impure. And this impure matter is known as the mixture, and this mixture may be the homogeneous mixture or your heterogeneous mixture. Okay, homogeneous or heterogeneous, right? But if you come to the pure matter, that is divided into element and compound. Let me write down element and compound. Okay. Now you see, compound is again divided into acid, base and salt. Compound is divided into acid, then your base, then your salt, right? But element is divided into metal, non-metal and the metalloid. Let me write down, element is metal, then your non-metal, next one is your metalloid. Now you see that we are here only. It means we are going to read your metal and the non-metals, right? But I want to give you the some, you can say, the definition of the metalloid. Metalloid means which has the partial metallic character and partial non-metallic character. They are known as the metalloid. If I talk about the example of the metalloid, you can take silicon and the germanium, which are used as a semiconductor, and it is also used in the digital devices. It is also used in integrated circuit like that. Okay? Well, now coming to the main point, we are only dealing with the metals and the non-metals, right? So how to define a metal? If you say that metal is a greyish color, hard and solid, it's okay. But according to the chemical point of view, metals are those substances which has the electropositive character. Okay, electropositive character. Second thing is that if you want to identify the metal, you have to know about the number of the valence electrons. Particularly in the metal, the number of the valence electrons are 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, valence electron means number of electrons present in outermost orbit. Metals are very good reducing agent also, and during the formation of the chemical bond, metals form ionic bond and the metals lose the electrons to form cations. Okay, so they are the basic radicals. So again I want to repeat by writing how to define a metal. Okay, so metals, first you can write that they have the electropositive character, okay. Second, you can write that they have the valency 1, 2 or 3 like this. Valency means here the number of electrons present in outermost orbit in an atom of the metal. Next one is metal form. You can say that it possesses reducing agent or act as reducing agent. Act as reducing agent. Reducing agent means which can oxidize itself. Okay, the substance which can oxidize itself is a good reducing agent. Then the metals form cations by losing electron or donating electrons. Okay, by losing the electron it forms the cations. They form the basic radicals. It forms basic radicals. So these all are the identification of the metal, right? Similarly, if you talk about the non-metals, just opposite. If you talk about the non-metals possess electronegative character. First of all, it possesses electronegative character. Let me write down electronegative character. Similarly, second point you can write the valency or number of the electrons present in outermost orbit of an atom of a non-metal are vary from 4 to 7. Again I repeat, number of the valence electrons found in atoms of the non-metal are ranges from 4 to 7. It may be 4, maybe 5, 6, 7. If you talk about the carbon family, number of electrons present in outermost orbit is 4. If you talk about the nitrogen family, number of electrons present in outermost orbit 5. If you talk about the oxygen family, 6, and halogen the 7. So the number of electrons present in the atoms of the non-metals have ranges from number of the valence electron. You can write it. Number of valence electrons ranges from 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 or 7. Okay. Next point, it acts as an oxidizing agent. Right? Oxidizing agent means those who reduce itself. Then it forms anions. It forms anion by gaining electrons. Okay, and it forms acid radicals. Right? So these all are the identification of your metals and the non-metals. Again I repeat, metals are having the electropositive character. The number of the valence electrons present in metal are 1 or 2 or 3. The metals act as a strong reducing agent. The metals form cations by losing the electrons, and it forms the basic radicals. Right? If I talk about the sodium Na, the outermost orbit of the sodium contains the 1 electron. So sodium can readily lose 1 electron and convert into Na plus cation. Right? And it forms the basic radical. Basic radical means if I talk about the salt sodium chloride, then sodium is the basic radical here and the chloride is the acidic radical here. Right? Similarly, come to the non-metals. Non-metals possess electronegative characters, and the number of the valence electrons in atoms of the non-metal are, it may be the 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Okay, I have given you the examples also. Non-metals act as oxidizing agent and itself is reduced. Non-metals form anions by gaining the electrons. Now you come to here. Here you see that if you take the chlorine receive 1 electron or gain 1 electron and convert into Cl minus, that is the anion. Okay? So it forms the anion by gaining the electron. And the last one is it forms the acid radical. Right? So these all are the identification of the metals and the non-metals. Next one is that I want to tell you the different types of the metals and the non-metals. If you go to the periodic classification of the elements, you will read about it after that. In periodic table, if you see, metals are classified into different categories. They are your alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, transition metals, inner transition metals. Okay, metals may be the radioactive also. So these are the different categories of the metal. So let me write down types of the metal. So the metals are differentiated or categorized in periodic table like this. Metals may be the alkali metals, metals may be the alkaline earth metals, metals may be the transition metals or transition, okay, metals may be the inner transition metals, inner transition, right? So metals are also the radioactive. Radioactive means these metals have an ability to disintegrate spontaneously and they emit the radioactive radiations. For example, I can give you an example of the radioactive metal uranium. Uranium 92-235, okay? It is an example of the radioactive metals. Well, so metals are classified into alkali metals, which are very reactive. Then your alkaline earth metals, transition metals and inner transition metals. Just I want to give you a brief idea about that going through the periodic table, okay? So I am drawing the outline of the periodic table. The periodic table is actually looking like this type of the structure, outlines. Now you see in the periodic table, the left side are the metals, okay? Left side are the metals. But if you go to the right side, these are the non-metals, right? And center is also the metals, okay? And below there is another small table, this also the metals. This is called your inner transition metals, center is the transition metals, left side is alkali and alkaline metals, and right side are the non-metals. The non-metals exist in the form of the solid, maybe the liquid, maybe the gas. Okay, and here you see in this portion you can have the presence of the metalloids. Metalloids are those who has the partial metallic character and partial non-metallic character. So these are all about the classification and the types of the metals and the non-metals, right? After that I will tell you the physical and chemical properties of the metal. Okay, so go to the physical properties of the metal. You can also write along with me physical properties of the metal. Let me write down physical properties of metal. Metals are first one is hard and rigid. Hard and rigid. Second, metals have high density. High density. Metals possess metallic luster. Okay. Next one is metals have your malleability and the ductility property. Malleability and ductility. Then next one is metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Good conductors of heat and electricity. Next one, metals also exhibit sonority property. Sonority property. They form the alloys also. Okay, alloys formed by the metals. Form alloys. Metals have the high tensile strength. High tensile strength, and metal also have sonority. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I have written here 8 physical properties. Metals are hard and rigid. Every metal is hard and rigid, as you know that. Metals are incompressible because of the tightly packing of the atoms and the molecules inside that. High density metals are high dense. high density. Density is equal mass upon volume. All the metals possess the high density. Metals have the luster. Luster means brightness. If you rub any metal, it will have the brightness, own shiningness. Shows the malleability and the ductility. So what is the meaning of the malleability and the ductility? Malleability means it is the property of a metal to prepare the sheet. SHEET sheet. Okay? I want to explain you the meaning of the malleability and the ductility. Malleability means the property of the metal. The property of metal. The property of the metal that can be used to make thin sheets. Thin sheets, okay? Metals, okay, one more property I have added. All the metals have the high melting point and boiling point also, okay? Well, malleability means the property of the metal that can be used to make a thin sheet. If the metals are beaten strongly and strongly, okay, suppose this is a metal, this metal is beaten strongly, then this metal can be converted into very thin sheet. Okay, this property is known as your malleability property. Then come to ductility. Ductility means the property of the metal by which we can able to draw thin wires from the metal. Metals are converted into wires. Okay, that property is known as the ductility. The property of the metal, by which it can be converted into long and thin wire. Understand? So again I want to repeat, malleability property means metals are converted into thin sheet by beating it strongly, and ductility means by using this property metals can be converted into thin and long wires. We can draw thin and long wires. So these two properties are very important for the metals. Next you see, I have written that metals are the good conductor of heat and electricity. As you know that metals have more number of the free electrons, and due to presence of the free electrons, metal has the conductivity. Metal can able to conduct heat also and electricity also. Okay. After that, metals are exhibiting sonority. So what is the meaning of the sonority? Sonority means if you strike a metal, it will produce the ringing sound. You can see the bell which are hanging in the temple and anywhere. So these are given from your property sonority. Okay. So metals exhibit sonority. Sonority means getting the ringing sound from the metal by hitting that. Then form alloys. Formation of the alloys is another property of the metals. So what is the alloy? Alloy means when the 2 or 3 metals get mixed together after melting, then it will convert into alloys. Okay? So I can give you the example of alloys. You can take an example of alloys, brass. Let me write down here. Example of the alloys. Okay? Do not confuse alloy with metalloid. Metalloid means having the metallic property and the non-metallic property. But alloy means when 2 or more than 2 metals get melted and mixed together, then we are getting the alloy. So let me write down the definition of the alloy. Mixing 2 or more metals after melting. Okay? Then we can get the alloy. So what are the examples of the alloy? I can give you few which are very common alloys and we use that in our everyday life. Do remember brass, bronze, stainless steel, then your nichrome. So these all are the alloys. Now I want to tell you what are the metals are present here. First you see the brass. Brass is composed of copper and the zinc. Copper and zinc, okay? Similarly, bronze consists of the copper and tin. Copper and tin, what is the symbol of the tin? Sn, right? Stainless steel consists of the many type of the metals, iron, chromium, manganese, okay? So many metals are get mixed to form the stainless steel, okay? So you can write the iron, chromium is also there, carbon is also being added, okay? Nichrome is a very common alloy. We use that as a heating element. If you see the electric heater, geyser, toaster, oven, there are your electric press, there is a coil. That coil is made up of your nichrome. Nichrome is an alloy made up of nickel and chromium. Let me write down. Nickel and chromium. These two metals get mixed together to obtain nichrome, and the nichrome is used as heating element in all type of the heating appliances. Okay, so it is all about your alloys. Next I have written metals possess high tensile strength. So what is the meaning of the tensile strength? We can stretch the metal as long as possible. This is the property of the metal. This property will give you the tensile strength. By using the tensile strength, a metal can be converted into spring. You might have seen that we are making the springs. Springs are used everywhere, even in the vehicles. Shock absorber that contains the spring made up of the steel. So how they are being made? They are being made due to a special property of the metal that is known as high tensile strength. Okay? Metals possess high melting point and the boiling point. As you know that the atoms and molecules are the tightly packed without any space. So they have the high melting point and the boiling point. So these all are the physical properties of the metals. You have to go through that. Next I want to tell you chemical properties of the metal. So please go through with me chemical properties of the metal, and you also write along with me. Chemical properties of the metal. Heading: chemical properties of metal. Okay, let us start with your hydrogen. There are so many chemical properties in the metal, but we will pick only the few of the important ones. Okay, we can take the mixing with your hydrogen, mixing with your oxygen, then reacting with your water, next one reacting with your acid, next I will take alkali, next I will take your salt solution, and after that I will take your halogen group element or halogen. Simply write halogen. Okay, starting with your hydrogen. How the metal react with the hydrogen? Okay. Now you see that I have taken the few of the metals for that: sodium, potassium, calcium, and the magnesium. Okay, because there are so many reactions, all are not possible to give you here. So you see that when the sodium react with the hydrogen, it will form sodium hydride NaH, right? Similarly, when the potassium react with hydrogen, it will form your potassium hydride KH. Similarly, when calcium react with hydrogen, it will form calcium hydride CaH2. One thing I want to remind you, in all these chemical equations, I have taken the skeletal equation, I have not balanced it. Because I am giving you the work, you try to balance these equations in your copy. Okay, you try to learn the balancing of the chemical equation. If you practice, then it will be a very, very good thing to you. Well, okay, coming to this point, the sodium react with hydrogen, giving you sodium hydride. Potassium react with hydrogen, giving you potassium hydride. Calcium react with the hydrogen, giving you the calcium hydride. But this hydride, they also again further they react with water to form hydroxide. Sodium hydride convert into sodium hydroxide, potassium hydride convert into potassium hydroxide, and likewise. So this is how the metals react with hydrogen. Okay. Then come to the oxygen. How the metals react with oxygen? Let me write it. Sodium react with oxygen to give you sodium oxide Na2O. Potassium react with oxygen, again it will give you the potassium oxide K2O. And calcium react with oxygen, it will give you calcium oxide. Okay. Similarly, the magnesium react with oxygen, it will form your magnesium oxide, and likewise. So the same thing, or the one thing you can understand, that when the metals react with oxygen, you are getting the metal oxides which are basic in nature. Okay. Sodium react with oxygen, sodium oxide. Potassium form the potassium oxide. Calcium forms calcium oxide, and the magnesium forms the magnesium oxide. Next one is your water. How the metals react with water. Okay. Let me write down. Metals react with water. I can take the sodium plus water. It will form your sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Okay. Similarly, if you take the potassium, it will form your potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Similarly, if you take calcium with water, calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen, and similarly the magnesium also, it will form magnesium hydroxide, and your hydrogen gas will be produced. But here one thing remember, sometimes the metal react with the steam to produce metal oxides instead of the metal hydroxides. Okay. The fourth number one is that metal with acid. I am taking the dilute acid, suppose your hydrochloric acid. For example, sodium plus dilute hydrochloric acid, okay, it will give you sodium chloride plus hydrogen. Similarly, if you take the potassium plus hydrochloric acid, potassium chloride plus hydrogen, calcium plus HCl, calcium chloride plus hydrogen, and same thing happened to the magnesium also. Here you see that salt is forming and the hydrogen gas is coming out. Okay, and we are considering the dilute acids. But if you take another acid also, suppose for example I take magnesium plus sulfuric acid, it will also form the magnesium sulfate plus hydrogen. Okay, like this. Next one is that alkali. When the metals react with the strong alkali, what will form? Strong alkali, I may take the sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a base as well as it is also an alkali. So let me write metal with your alkali. Suppose I take the zinc Zn plus sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a strong alkali. Then what it will form? Na2 ZnO2, sodium zincate. Okay. Zinc plus sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium zincate, Na2 ZnO2 plus hydrogen gas will be produced. Okay. I can take the one more metal also. Suppose aluminium, Al plus sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium aluminate. Okay. NaAlO2 plus hydrogen. Understood? So what is this? When the metal react with alkali, strong alkali, and I have taken it here sodium hydroxide. Right? Next one is salt solution. Salt solution, suppose if I take your iron plus copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is a bluish color salt. I will prepare the solution of that with water. Then what it will form? Ferrous sulfate FeSO4 plus copper. Okay. I can take one more reaction also. Zinc plus ferrous sulfate. It will give you zinc sulfate plus iron. This is a single displacement reaction. Okay. And the last one is how the metal will react with halogens. Halogen means fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Group 7A elements. Okay. So let me give you the examples. Suppose you see sodium plus chlorine, it will form sodium chloride. Similarly, I can take potassium plus chlorine, potassium chloride. Okay, and like this it will form. So these all are your chemical properties of the metals. Now I want to tell you the physical and chemical properties of non-metals. Okay. Let me write down the physical properties of the non-metals. If I talk about the physical properties of the non-metals, these are just opposite of the physical properties of the metals. Okay? I am not going to write, but few of them I want to write it here. Physical properties of the non-metals. Physical properties of non-metals, right? So, first you see that non-metals are soft and brittle. First one is that it is not hard, soft and brittle. These are the poor conductor of heat and electricity. Poor conductor of heat and electricity. Okay? Low density. It possesses the low density, low melting point and boiling point, low MP and BP. Okay? So these are the few important physical properties of the non-metals. They don't have the sonority, they don't show the malleability and the ductility. Okay? They have no luster. Okay, like this. So now you see what are the chemical properties of the non-metals. Chemical properties of the non-metals. Let me explain you, and I am going to write down, and you also write down in your copy. Chemical properties of non-metal. Okay? So first you see that I will give you the examples of with oxygen, with your hydrogen, with your halogen, and I will give you the reaction with salt solution. Okay, first you see that I start with your oxygen, reaction with oxygen, carbon plus oxygen, it will form CO2 or carbon dioxide, which is acidic oxide. Here one thing remember that metals form the basic oxide with oxygen, and whereas the non-metals form acidic oxide with oxygen. So when the carbon react with oxygen, we are getting carbon dioxide, that is the acidic oxide. But when the carbon react with oxygen, we are also getting carbon monoxide. This is the neutral oxide. Okay? Similarly, hydrogen plus oxygen, we are getting the water. Okay? Like this. Then second one is reaction with hydrogen. See that when the nitrogen react with hydrogen, we get ammonia NH3. Okay, ammonia gas. Similarly, when we take your sulfur plus your hydrogen, we get hydrogen sulfide gas. It is a strong gas with a foul smell also, just like the rotten eggs. Then come to the halogen. Halogen group elements, like if I take the hydrogen plus chlorine, it will give you the hydrochloric acid HCl. Okay? Or you can take any other things also. Your phosphorus plus chlorine, it will give you phosphorus pentachloride PCl5. Phosphorus react with chlorine to form phosphorus trichloride PCl3 or PCl5 phosphorus pentachloride. Penta means 5. Okay? And the last one is the salt solution. I may take sodium bromide solution with chlorine, then it will give you sodium chloride plus bromine. Okay? So these are the few chemical properties of the non-metals. After that, I will tell you the importance of the metals and the non-metals in our everyday life. Okay? That also you have to know and understand. We use the metals every day. Metal is the basic part in our everyday life. Okay? So where we are using the metals? Starting from the iron, let me write down iron, copper, gold, silver, aluminium, we are also using the nickel, okay, mercury, and we can also use your platinum, okay, like this. First you say iron. Iron is a basic need of our growth. Our country, our world grow only because of the iron. By using the iron, we can make the steel also. By using the iron and steel, all type of the heavy machineries, the part of the vehicles, your constructions, okay, many things are being made by using the iron. Then come to copper. Copper is used as, you know that the good conductor, so copper is used to make the electrical devices, electrical wires, okay, and it is also used as the conducting materials, copper. Then come to the gold and silver. Gold and silver are used to make the ornaments, jewelry items, okay. And then come aluminium. Aluminium is used as your utensils. Our maximum utensils are made up of the aluminium. This is also the good conductor. Aluminium is also used to make wares, okay, and many other parts of your, you can say that household part, like your window and the door seats. Then nickel. Nickel is used as a catalyst. Let me write it, catalyst. So what is the meaning of the catalyst? Catalyst is the substance which are used to speed up the chemical reaction. Okay? Catalyst. Nickel catalyst is used in many of the chemical reactions to speed up the rate of the reaction. Then the mercury. You know that mercury is the liquid metal. It is used in the thermometers. Mercury is a thermometric substance. Okay? Then the platinum. The platinum is a hard metal with the high resistance. So all type of the electrical equipments which need the high resistance, in that case the platinum is used. In some cases it is also used as a heating element also. Okay? And at last I want to give you some of the facts about the metals and the non-metals. Fact means these are the exceptional cases, and you have to remember that. Facts of your metals and your non-metals. You see that first of all I start with the soft metal. Soft metal, the metal which are very soft and can be cut with the knife. Okay? They are your sodium or maybe the potassium. Sodium and potassium. It can be cut with knife. Sodium and potassium belong to the alkali group and they can be stored in kerosene. Do remember that. Sodium and potassium can be stored in kerosene. This is the special point. Kerosene. Okay, storing. Next one, after the soft metals, then lightest metal. Lightest metal is the lithium. Okay. Lithium is considered to be the lightest metals. Okay, it has very low density. Then you see the hard metal. Hard metal is tungsten, T-U-N-G-S-T-E-N. Tungsten is the hard metal, and the tungsten is also used to make the filament of the electric bulb. Then you see that liquid metal, you know that already. Liquid metal is your mercury. Okay, mercury is the liquid metals used in the many, you can say that thermometric uses. Then the liquid non-metal. Liquid non-metal is your bromine. Bromine is a non-metal that is found in liquid state at room temperature. Okay. Next one, the hardest substance. Hardest substance. And here you see the credit goes to the non-metal, that is the diamond. Diamond, although it is a non-metal, but it is the hardest. The melting point of the diamond is about 3500 degrees Celsius. It has the highest density also. Okay, hardest. Then your heaviest metal. Heaviest metal. Heaviest metals are, recently it is discovered osmium and iridium. Osmium and iridium are taken to be or considered to be the heaviest metal due to the highest density. Then you see that radioactive elements or the metals. These are your uranium, thorium, polonium, like this. Thorium, okay, polonium, they emit radioactive radiations spontaneously. So these are the few of the facts about the metals and your non-metals. Well, my dear students, before going to close my session, I want to recapitulate whatever I told today. I have started a new lesson, that is your metal and the non-metals. First of all, I told you the classification of the matter, so that I will go to the metal and the non-metal. Then I define the metal and non-metal also. I told you the nature of the metals and the non-metals, types of the metals and the non-metals I told. Next I told you what are the physical properties and what are the chemical properties of the metal. Then I told you the physical and chemical properties of the non-metal also, and importance of the metals and the non-metals in our everyday life. And about the importance of the non-metals, I want to tell you something. Importance of the non-metals, okay? Importance of non-metals. Here you see that carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. Carbon is a basic element in organic matters. Our living body consists of the carbon. Food materials are also belong to the carbon. Carbon is a basic ingredient everywhere. Okay? Then oxygen. Oxygen, you know that it is an essential gas for our respiration process, for our breathing process. Oxygen is also used for the oxidation of the many of the things. Without oxygen, living things cannot exist. Then see the nitrogen. Nitrogen is the basic component for the plants. Okay, nitrogen is also used to pack the, you can say that, okay, some of the your packaging food, we are using the nitrogen gas to avoid the rancidity. Nitrogen is also used to make the fertilizer, just like your ammonium nitrate, okay, calcium ammonium nitrate, like that. Then you see that your phosphorus, in the same way, the phosphorus is used in our different ways. We can make your fertilizer also. Sulfur is used to make your sulfuric acid, and it is also used in your making the drugs and other things. So these are your few of these importances of the non-metals. Okay? And at last I told you the fact about the metals and the non-metals, which are very few but important for you. At last I want to give you the assignment of the session. And I want to tell you that you have to solve the assignment, and after that you take the pic of the assignment, then you have to post it in ERP. This is compulsory for you to solve the assignment because this is the part of your PT1. So again I want to remind you, since it is the part of the PT1, all of you are instructed to solve your assignment, and you can have to post it in ERP within 2 days. Okay? So I am going to write down the assignment questions, and assignment questions are also uploaded in ERP also. Okay? So assignment questions. The first question I am giving you that write any 5 physical and chemical properties. Write any 5 physical and chemical properties. Chemical properties of metals. Okay? The second question is write any 5 chemical properties of the non-metals. Write any 5 chemical properties of non-metal. And the last question is write any 4 chemical properties of the non-metals. 4 chemical properties of non-metals. Okay? And one more is also there. Define malleability and the ductility. Define malleability and ductility. So, well, my dear children, go through the assignment and you solve it. Hope you enjoy this session and you read and write well. Thank you very much.